Okay, so it's come to that time of the show now where we look at your questions that you've been sending in on various social media channels. So we are the Thing I Love Most show. So we are TTILM show on Instagram, on Facebook, and Thing I Love Most show on YouTube as well. So we are obviously a YouTube show. We sometimes do film in the Blue Coats pub in Tottenham, which used to be the Pride of Tottenham on Tottenham High Road. But today we are doing a Skype show, as you can see. But if you're listening to it on a podcast, you have no idea. So you're thinking, what are you going on about? So we are in two different forms. We really, really do support. We appreciate all of your support that you've been showing us since this adventure has begun for us at the beginning of the season. And obviously, it's been fantastic to have Tim on the show for the first time, and hopefully won't be the last. So we open up.
I would like to do one of those pub shows.
Oh, well, this is fine. Don't worry. Next time you're over, we'll get you a lager top with me, and we'll be laughing. Okay, so we've had various questions coming in, and we're going to try and work our way through them now. I'm going to start with a question from, I'm not going to try and say his name, but FC UK Sal. FC UK Sal. Sounds a bit rude. His question is, Harry Winks, can he be as good as Luka Modric? Wow, that's a very, very question. I mean, personally, for me, I absolutely loved Luka Modric. Still do. He's just incredible. He was a game changer for me. But I've always said that I see parts of his game in Winks in terms of his awareness and in terms of his sort of low center of gravity. And the fact he looks around before he receives the ball, and when he receives the ball, he's very quick to turn, which is a Modric trait. Obviously, he's just not up to speed with his passing yet, and he's scored 2 goals in his career. So there are obviously rooms for improvement, but he's still very young. So I think it's a long way to go to get to Modric's standard, but I can see that there are similarities in his games. But I think to reach that level, he's got a long way to go. What do you think, Leigh?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I mean, God, to compare someone or ask him to be Modric is a big ask. But listen, let's make no bones about it. Winks is kind of pretty new into the team in all respect. When you look at the players around him, and he's found himself a starting position in a top 4 Premier League club. He's been in the England squad. Had a bit of a time with injuries just as he broke in. He's got to be a player. He's just turned 23, 24 the other day.
23.
He's going to be a player, and I don't expect nothing too fast. But I think you're going to see a hell of a top draw player in 3-4 years' time. I think every season he gets under his belt, every 10 international caps that he pockets, and just playing with those players on the international stage and picking up little bits around him each time, every European match, he'll pick up little things. His passing is unbelievable. His awareness on the pitch is head and shoulders above a lot of top players, by the way. And you pick up on it there, Nolh, in terms of he's always looking around, see what's going on about him. And I said earlier, he'll take a pass, he'll give it to someone, and he don't switch off. He's already looking for where his next ball's going to go. He screams for the ball back, gets it back, and bang, he switched to play, or he knows how to move the play up the pitch. And it probably needs to be more intricate, but you can't put that down to him. You have to put that down to some of the players around him. Modric went to another level when he's got kind of Ronaldo and Benzema and players who can play in tight little spots around him, and made him look, even 10 times better than he was at Tottenham. So that will come with time. That will come with players around him. But Winks he'll be a hell of a player in his own right. I think asking him to be Modric, who's just bagged every kind of Player of the Year trophy and everything else, world player and stuff going on around him, bagged everything this year. But look how old Modric is now, before he's really fulfilled that potential. So, no, listen, believe in Winks, sit tight, and he'll make his own name, that's for sure.
Tim, what are your thoughts? And just bear in mind that there was a few questions to get through here. Leigh doesn't seem to realise that when you answer a question, it's good to try and keep them succinct.
I'll be brief.
That was almost a rant.
Yes, I'll be brief on this one. I mean, I'll be serious. I don't necessarily regard them as similar players. I mean, to me, Modric is a guy who he's kind of a driver of the offense, and he's the guy who is taking control of an offense. You know, like, I mean, over in America, we like to say the quarterback of the offense. We love to take American football terms, but I don't see Winks as being that player. I see him as more of a defensive player. And as somebody who isn't necessarily a kind of I mean, I see Modric as more of a number 10 kind of player.
Okay.
But I love Winks. I love his awareness. He always seems to know what he's going to do with the ball, and he doesn't get flustered. And at that part of the game, I think he excels at. I think, like Leigh said, I think there's certainly room for improvement in his game. And if he could become more of a presence offensively, then, I don't know that, I mean, it's unfair to compare anybody with Modric, but I think he could become certainly a much more important player than he already is for Spurs.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it at that.
He does seem to be adding those drives to his game now. Before, when he first came into the team, he was very technical. He was very good at passing, but now he is taking on players, and now, because I suppose Dembele is gone, he has to in that position. Someone has to be that link between defense and attack, and he's certainly done that. So good question, hope we answered that to the best of our abilities. Maybe in a little bit too long a time, but apologies for that. We can't help that with Leigh. Okay, so a lot of questions about trophies, a lot of questions about stadiums. It is something that we touch on a regular basis. Would we prefer to go into the new stadium now, or wait for next season? Win a trophy there first, or bring it here first? I think we just prefer to just win something, and I think whatever will be with the stadium, in my eyes, I think it's just, no one really knows, and we'll just deal with it when it happens. So what other questions do we have? Do we think we can win the league with 5 points behind? Okay, answer in 20 seconds. Leigh.
No, I don't. But I do like the fact that we are chasing Man City, and City are taking all the pressure. Both teams have got to come and play us. So I'm not ruling us out of it, but it's a big ask.
Okay. Tim?
Agree that it's a big ask. I am not ruling it out yet, though. I'm certainly more of an optimistic fan, I think, than most, but I don't see why not. All it's going to take is a stumble. One stumble from City and one stumble from Liverpool, and we're right on top of them. So I can see it. I don't know that I do see it, but possible, yes. Likely, no.
Good answer. And that was from Xian Gang, by the way. Xian Gang, thank you very much for your question. Okay. What else do we have here? Loads of questions coming in, people. Thank you very much for all of these. Where do you think we need to sign in the summer? Where do we need to improve? So we have touched on this one in the past, but we haven't got Tim's view on this. So Tim, 30 seconds on where we think we could improve.
Has backup striker been mentioned ever?
I mean, just a little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's going to depend on Eriksen's status and if they sign him to an extension. I would like to see us get somebody along those lines, and a creative kind of, again, a number 10 type. I mean, as much as I like Eriksen in that role, I think there probably are maybe some better people, or somebody to share that burden. I would like to be able to have somebody who takes on defenders more. I loved the Moore signing last year for that reason, and Sonny's been doing more of that. But those are, I would like to see more attacking positions and more maybe technical attacking players, especially speed. That's the one thing with Trippier on the right side, like we were talking before. I think if Poch ever wants to go to a 3-5-2, I think Trippier is one of the worst people to put on that outside right, because he has no speed whatsoever. Love the way he crosses the ball. Can't stand the way he runs.
He doesn't run.
I think I'm faster than he is.
That's a race that we're going to film. Okay. Right. One last question now then, guys. We're going to finish on our best and worst player this season. Oh, That is an interesting one. Our best and worst player this season. I mean, I think saying worst player in general is a little bit OTT, and we don't really go for negativity on this show. Although I know that Leigh, you would have experienced a few Leigh Serge Aurier. They don't have chats really anymore after that little okay, so best player of the season, but so far it's quite strange because it seems to have gone in stages. Like earlier on in the season, Lamela came out of the blocks flying, Mora equally. Then they both Mora just seemed to lose a bit of form, and Lamela got injured. Then Winks has come into a bit of form. Kane has obviously been incredibly consistent. Rose, for me, at the moment, I would say is up there with being our best player. He's so influential, and he's probably more influential even than Winks, I think, because quite a lot of our attacks come through him, and they always have done. Ever since Kyle Walker and him started at the club, so much of our focal point, attacking-wise, came down those wing-backs, and it's still the same case. He is brilliant. He's so good. Better than any left-back in the league, I think. I think Zinchenko played well against Chelsea yesterday, but then he was playing against Chelsea. So, yeah, for me, I think probably overall in terms of influence in a game, and every player seems to have been injured this season. So it's not like we can say someone has been that consistent. But for me, the player that I would want to see on the team sheet, obviously Kane will get the plaudits, Kane gets the goals, but for me, it's Danny Rose. Okay, so we've got another question here, and this has come in from Alfie Parsons 11. Thanks for sending in this. He's asked our best and worst player this season. I think worst player is not really something we should talk about, especially because Leigh's currently getting therapy for dealing with Serge Aurier. So we're not going to open up that kind of worms because, he's got a family and we don't want to do that to them. So that's not fair on any of us, to be honest. And also we're running out of time as it is. And, once he gets going, once the eyebrow starts twitching, then it's just not a pretty sight. So we're not gonna mention Serge Aurier. We're not gonna mention those 3 foul flows he did, but that was last season. Best player. Okay, so best player is a very difficult one. Firstly, because everyone seems to have been so injured this season. No one's really played the whole season. Lamela started very well, scored loads of goals, then got injured. Mora started very well, then he lost a bit of form. Kane is obviously very consistent. Ali was hitting a bit of form before he got injured. Eriksen has been in and out. Defensively, Jan has been pretty solid as well, I think. But for me, I think Sissoko's been good. But for me, it's Winks, but then just a tiny bit ahead of him is Danny Rose, purely because he's so influential. And I do think that Winks is becoming more influential. But I think that if you look at the games where Rose plays, and if you look at how much of our attacks go through him, it's incredible. And he's been like that since him and Walker basically started playing together. Like, so much of our play was down the wings. It's such a focal point of the way we play. It still is. And he's just an incredible player. I think he's the best left wing back in the league. And I just love watching him play. It's just infectious. And the fact he tried to put off Jamie Vardy the other day as well, just that tops it for me. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. So, Tim, over to you. Who's your best player?
I have to agree with you on Rose. I think consistency-wise, and it's almost stunning to say it, but I think Sissoko has to be considered in that picture as well. I mean, he obviously seems incapable of scoring, but he does his job every game. And his job isn't necessarily to score, but he's doing his job very well. And how many of us actually thought we'd be saying that after his first 2 seasons at Spurs? But Danny Rose has certainly brought himself back into the conversation as far as best left back in the Premier League. Unquestionably, he's had a fantastic season. And to be honest, I was a little stunned yesterday when Poch took him off. Especially with Leicester running roughshod over us in the second half. and he takes off Danny Rose. I was like, why is he doing this? I mean, that's the guy you want on the pitch at that point. But everybody else, like you said, Morris started off outstanding. Obviously, Kane with the injury, it's difficult to say, and the same goes for Dele. There have been guys who have had their peaks and valleys, but Rose has been a rock the entire season.
Leigh, before you say anything, I've actually just forgotten another question, which was actually about Sonny. And so that's another one who I didn't even think about, and I should have, because he scored yesterday. And he has to be up there as well. And
True.
I mean, he's become so influential to us, and even more so when obviously Kane has gone out, and we show massively that we missed him when obviously he was at the Asian Games. But he is incredibly influential for us, and he's becoming one of the first names on the team sheet. So for me, I would actually put Sonny up there equally with Rose. So I'm just going to change my vote. There we go. So Leigh, any of those two, take your chances?
Well, it was going to be Sonny for me.
Oh, you were going to get in there. I'm glad I got in there before you did.
You just killed me. It would have been Sonny for me. Listen, I think when you see what he brings to the team, and his movement, I mean, we've missed Kane at times, but when he's single-handedly just kind of give us that extra 10, 20% since his return. And his movement and the way he carries the ball forward, you can see the difference that he makes. That's no disrespect to Harry, and he's just a phenomenal goal scorer. But, Sonny can deliver a goal like he did yesterday, from deep in his own half, or he can produce a little bit of magic, curling it top bins from outside the area. He's just an all-round top player, and I think every season he's getting better and better. But a special mention must go to Sissoko, without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow. Somebody's turned it around with his performances, with 30, 40, 50,000 fans whinging at him at his every touch, every move. Isn't easy. So massive plaudits to him as well. That'd be the two for me.
Good shout. I think Son's now scored 13 in 15 now, which is just incredible. So yeah, I think he's a worthy winner there. Surprised you didn't talk about Oreo there, Leigh. But anyway, okay.
Well, so did you? You left that
alone. Amazing. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for coming on tonight. Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Pleasure being here.
Transatlantic, internationally, or whatever it is. It's been great, and we do hopefully. You're welcome back anytime you want to come and join us. You're more than welcome. Leigh, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone. Yes, of course you can. Here we go. Another plug to the ladies. Yep. Okay. Here we go. What have they done now? Lee's ladies corner. Here we go.
A big shout out to the Tottenham ladies. They bagged another 3-0 win yesterday against the London Bees. Top of the table, 8 points clear. United still down in third place, 3 games behind. It's going to the wire. Tottenham ladies going Premier League. Get on it, guys. Get on it.
Brilliant stuff. Well done. Thank you, Philly. I'm loving Lee's Ladies Corner now. It's great. It's really, really good. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. And once again, we are the Thing I Love Most Show, TTRM Show, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, and we will see you next Monday. And thanks for watching and listening. Please share and subscribe, as you always be doing. Thank you very much. See you next week. Come on, you Spurs.